What is going on, crypto family? So I guess today we're going to have a panel on gamifying crypto for mass adoption. I tell you, this virtual stuff is definitely easier than flying to Los Angeles and getting a hotel room like we always do there for the convention. But man, I sure miss all my crazy peeps at the conferences and all those sloppy drunken hugs at all the the after parties and all that cool stuff. But can't wait till they open California back up and things kind of go back to normal. So anyways, I'll be doing the moderation here today, and hopefully I'll do a better job than Chris Wallace did on the debates. So we'll see. You guys can judge me at the end, I guess. But before we actually dive into this moderation, let's into gamification of crypto, all that kind of stuff. Let's take about 30 seconds, I guess, to introduce everybody. And if we could, let's just start off with Aubrey right there at the top. Why don't you tell me about yourself, who you are, and all that kind of good stuff.
Great. I appreciate the Chris Wallace joke. That was pretty good.
All right, you've done enough talking. All right, next.
It was great. Yeah, I'm Aubrey Strobel. I'm the head of communications at Lolli. We're a Bitcoin rewards app that allows people to earn Bitcoin when they shop online. So places like Groupon, Priceline, Expedia, and people are just earning fractions of Bitcoin. We have over 1,000 merchants. We're about 2 years old, and we've been, just growing a ton. So yeah, really excited to be here. Thanks for having me on.
Awesome. Let's go next, I guess, with Adi.
Hey, Rob, thanks for moderating this session. I'm with Props, co-founder and CEO. Props is a loyalty token. It's a work token. It enables apps to reward their users with benefits in the apps and a financial stake in the network that they're on. It's part of the ownership economy, and the ownership economy doesn't need to be just for dApps and just for crypto geeks. It's for everyone. And so we're working with Web 2.0 apps that have millions of users and enabling their users and these apps to be aligned with each other and share value.
Cool. What you got, Amy?
Hi, so my name is Amy Wan. I am actually a securities attorney and founder of Bling. We're blingfi.com. We are literally gamifying crypto, so our users can play mobile games. Our version, we've got, Bitcoin Blast, Bitcoin Blocks, things, a bunch of different mobile games. And the reward is that people can actually earn Bitcoin for it. So we've been around for about 15, 16 months. We have, we're approaching 3 million users, and the interesting thing for us is we're literally onboarding people onto crypto who haven't had exposure to crypto before. So 70% of our users, have never had a Coinbase account. We've referred them about 1.9 million new accounts, and we're profitable.
Excellent. That's rare. Cool. Byong, what you got?
Thanks, Robert. My name is Byungju, or Mike Lee, from Yanolja. Yanolja is a mobile application platform based in Korea. We are #1 online travel agency here. And we provide like accommodation bookings, like leisure activities, budget hotels, and franchise and hotel solution for our users. We are actually not like the blockchain-based company, but we have been successful in gamification of the blockchain or the crypto over the years. Over years of like developments have showed us that we could provide a crypto and blockchain technology to our millions of users, which peaks about 8 million active users in the peak seasons. And so we're really excited to be here, and we'd like to talk about how we can spread this kind of a new phenomenon in this era.
Awesome, man. And then for people that don't know me, my name's Robert Beadles. I'm a Christian husband and father, got a TV show called Crypto Beadles, YouTube channel called Crypto Beadles as well. I've built one of the largest service companies in California, one of the largest real estate companies in Nevada. I'm the founder of Splash Factory. We build a lot of software for companies like the United States Post Office. And I'm also the co-founder and builder of the Monarch Wallet, Monarch Pay, Monarch Health, and here very soon, Bull Run the crypto game. So pleasure to have you all here and talk about gamification of crypto. And one of those things that a lot of people don't really understand, like what gamification of like a blockchain company really means. And I think one of the best definitions I could kind of find was, gamification is applying the science and psychology of gaming in a non-game context to motivate and reward your customers to perform certain desired behaviors. And gamification is, one of the most proven ways to kind of engage community members and kind of keep them coming back for more, so to speak. So if we would, let's start off with Aubrey here and just kind of talk about, who do you think are making kind of the most significant advancements in the blockchain industry through their use of gamification, and what is it exactly that they're doing that you kind of respect or admire, or, can point to?
I mean, I think this panel is doing a great job by incentivizing users in a bunch of different ways to their platforms. I think the component that people really need to have is how easy is it for your users to get involved? How easy is it for them to join your platform? And I think a lot of times it's why should I even be earning crypto or Bitcoin or whatever your token is in the first place? That incentivization is the people who have nailed that and who are getting those things right are the ones that are succeeding. So it has to be easy, and they just have to be incentivized to do it. So I mean, there's a lot of leaders in the space, but it just has to be why should I even own this in the first place, in my opinion.
Gotcha. Anybody else want to chime in? I figure I'll ask each one of you a question, then everybody can kind of chime in afterwards. You have any good examples of companies out there in crypto, maybe even yourself, what you guys are all doing, or any other companies
what NBA Hotshots are doing is really interesting. I don't know if you guys checked it out, but it really does recreate that childhood experience of opening the pack and finding your cards. It happens to be video cards. They happen to be on the blockchain. They happen to be tradable for value. They happen to be a digital asset, but that is really obfuscated for regular mom and pop users. And that is at the heart of, as you said, gamification and engineering that for users as a fun experience, as a motivating experience that has nothing to do with the technology behind it.
Gotcha.
Well, from Yanolja's point, we have tested two types of gamification to our users. First was a reward, and second was a promotional roulette gaming. For the reward, we noticed that most of people were not really interested in only gaining the crypto for their rewards after they accommodate the bookings inside our platform. But for gamification of some kind of a roulette system that we have launched in our platform, users can just come in and they can do the roulette, and then they can obtain some kinds of a crypto or some stable coins in terms how they are getting lucky in that day. And from that, we found that most of the users, they want to crypto, but they are not really used to it. So they need to be studied and they need to be educated. So this kind of education took us about 6 months for our users to actually get a crypto wallet and to get themselves into a crypto trade market. And by seeing those kinds of actions form over the months, we've noticed that the users' retention rates or their conversion rates to actually the service that we provide was getting higher. So those kind of crypto experiences kind of taught us that, crypto can be used to facilitate business like us.
Gotcha. And Amy, I'd like to pick your brain a little bit because, you're a securities attorney, right? So do you kind of have to be careful in the gamification process, especially in the US? I know with Monarch, we had to be super careful with referrals and rewards that we paid out because it could end up, kind of getting us in trouble. What's kind of the rule of thumb, so to speak, with, gamification rewards and things like that in the space?
Yeah, I mean, not even in the crypto industry, if you just look even broader, right? Robinhood has gamified finance and investing and stock trading in general, and they've gotten a lot of flack recently for almost making it too easy, making it too addictive, right? So, there's definitely a lot of attention being paid by regulators towards crypto. So I think the crypto industry in general the good players need to be very cautious and compliant about how we proceed. For our company, I almost come at this from an opposite perspective of we're not necessarily gamifying crypto as much as we are financifying games, because we're a games first company. So, games are our bread and butter. And then to the extent that we work, Bitcoin and crypto and other financial services into there, it's really interesting because finance companies are super good with retention, gaming companies are really good with, user acquisition and daily active usage. So I think if you mix the two, you can end up with something really compelling.
Very cool. Audie, what's kind of the biggest challenge that you kind of seen people with implementing like gamification in their platforms, in their companies? What's kind of the biggest challenge? Because we all know that if you're able to do it right, things can be, very, very successful, right? I mean, you look at like Uniswap and Sushi, and you look at Hex, those three guys, they figured out how to do some serious gamification. What do you think's keeping people, I guess, from knocking it out of the park like that? What's the biggest challenge?
Yeah, and I think we've seen companies gamifying over the past 2 decades. I mean, nothing to do with blockchain. I think blockchain itself represents another set of challenges, but even the Uber loyalty rewards, where you can get a diamond status or this status and get cash back, and it's all gamifying. It puts the little bar in front of you, and you're this so much short, etc. And these are all techniques that everybody on this call is using, and with next generation blockchain technology in order to simplify it for users. I think the challenge is really that we are talking about new business models. And these new business models for, apps to share value with users, what does it mean? How is it going to play out? Has it been tested? And really what we're seeing is innovators like, the folks on this call and companies like Reddit and companies like, the NBA with the hotshots and many others are starting to step up and make this more and more mainstream. And, once Lyft starts rewarding their drivers with a stake in the network so that they don't go and demonstrate on the day that Lyft IPOs and they're happy when the company is doing well. Uber is not going to have any choices, and they're going to have to adopt these new business models of sharing value with end users. And so I think that's the biggest challenge. It's a little bit of the chicken and the egg, but we're seeing great strides, and this year is a great year. We at Props have a half dozen apps that have already signed up to the network, each of them with millions of users. The genie's out of the hat.
Gotcha. Anybody else got anything they want to add to it?
I mean, I think that, a lot of this topic is nothing new. We've been talking about this for a decade, right? Like when it comes to mass adoption of crypto, there are a lot of technical hurdles. People at this conference, people on this panel were probably a lot more tech savvy than your average person, but most people don't know how to handle cold storage and private keys and anything of that sort. And so, a lot of people don't even know QR codes still, right? And that should be so simple. So I think, the key in all of this is just, it's making a lot of design choices for the average user.
Cool. Anybody else got anything you want to add?
Well, right. to be honest, like implementing a crypto business model was really difficult for us. And we actually did quite large projects, including this milk projects that we did in the Yanolja. And we did it for about 2 years now because the business model at the initial stage was not implementable for our average users, like everybody's in the panel saying. So for people to understand what the blockchain is, what we thought is that people do not have to actually acknowledge the fact that the service or the reward system they're using is actually run on the blockchain. It is just the fact that they can be enjoyed in the services and they can be more feel valued in the services. The key point was not the blockchain. The blockchain was only the facilitator and the technology that actually enabled it. So it was really hard for us to understand those kind of hidden messages behind implementing the blockchain technology. But as soon as we were able to get through those kind of psychological barrier, we were more able to generate more, let's say, a productive or very implementable services to our users. And it took us a lot, really.
Very cool.
Yeah, and I'll add to that, just talking back to the gamification of things. I mean, Lolli isn't straightforward a game, but we do a lot of marketing around giving people an idea, if they would have earned with us, in a way that is a game, like that they would have earned it with us back in like January 2019, I think Bitcoin was around $3,000. You know, like how much would they have now? Would they 2x or 3x their earnings? And would have that paid for the things they would have bought in the first place? So I think giving people that feeling of like, you know, Bitcoin over cash, this is what you would have had if you would have just earned, because there are other cash back rewards companies that, you know, are kind of our competitors. You have like Rakuten, which was formerly Ebates. But if we show like if you would have held that with us, you know, where you would be today, that kind of incentivizes users in sort of like a game capacity, I would say. Like it's exciting for them to be like, oh wow, I 2x'd my reward since I first earned with Lolli. So I guess that goes back to the incentivization side of things.
Yeah, and who knows, the way they keep printing all this money, I think a lot of assets are going to continue to go up. And so Bitcoin, who knows, maybe it could 2 or 3x just with, you know, increasing the currency supply by 30%, right? So, but Amy, so what do you kind of think about when it comes to gamification? You always get people that kind of like game the system, right? Because if you make gamification too easy, like with rewards and badges and payouts and things like that, they're able to create bots and do all this stuff that, you know, kind of ends up, you know, hurting the project, and it just becomes, you know, just a mess. What's some ways that you think that you can help, I guess, kind of make it to where they don't game the system as easy, yet both parties, you know, kind of win-win, so to speak. The user as well as the company both benefit from the gamification process without being gamed in the process, so to speak.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is a huge issue in our specific industry, right? I think with every company, depending on what you're doing, the answer is going to be different. At least for us, we do have a lot of protections around fraud. You know, we have bot detection programs. We make everyone verify their email. We have an extra layer right now. You know, we refer a lot of users to Coinbase, and they do a lot of fraud detection as well. At least for us, the answer has been a lot of proprietary fraud detect programs.
Gotcha. Anybody else got anything you want to add to it?
You know, we're doing business in the United States, and we're enabling companies here to enable crypto payments and crypto benefits to their users. And in that sense, you know, we're not inventing the wheel. When somebody is earning a lot, they need to do KYC, AML. That's already protection there. The apps that are implementing are also getting a lot of tools to ensure that they are gamifying in a smart way. So, for example, if you're getting a reward for inviting a user, you may get a very small part of it on the invite, but you know, the vast majority of it when that user is actually verified as a real user. So again, fighting gamification. And so across the board, I think that one of the responsibilities of us who are trying to educate the mass consumer market and business market in this country and internationally is to make it easy. And it's not expected that each small, medium-sized business is going to have the budgets that Reddit has in order to, or the budgets that Mike's company in Korea has to put millions of dollars and years of development on blockchain. And so there's going to be middleware, there's going to be layer 2, there's going to be APIs that make it very simple for apps to implement, and all of that is coming. And that's part of what we offer.
Gotcha. Aubrey, anything?
Lolli's not so much in the gaming space, but there are some components that we're going to be adding in that I can't really share right now. But yeah, I really like Crypto Puzzle. Like I like some of those companies, but in terms of like incentivizing people to earn and get Bitcoin, like Lolli's pretty straightforward on that end.
Gotcha. It looks like we got 7 minutes left, and we'll make sure everybody gets a question. Everybody gets to chime in on it, right? So, and then give everybody a chance to let everyone know where to find them. So, and forgive me, I butchered your name. Is it Bayong?
Mike.
You just go by Mike. Okay, that makes it easy. That's hard for me to mess up. All right, Mike. So, looking at the way that you've built your company, over the year or whatnot, is there anything that you'd go back and do different to kind of apply gamification to it? For better, for worse, anything like that? Things that you would have done differently, or things that you recommend other people should do that maybe you didn't, that you wish you did?
Well, there are a lot of things that we have experimented with the crypto or the blockchain. We first experimented with the payment system. And then we came to the reward system. And now we are heavily invested in our resources to experiment more on the solution provider side. So like identification for the users and to use those blockchain technology in going somewhere to actually not carry their passports and their ID cards, and to only use their like simple wallets to check into the hotels in a very automated way. I think that's new ways of checking into hotels in this untapped arena. And so I think one of the lessons that we have learned in the blockchain project, because we are not a blockchain-based company, but we are just a conventional company, actually a unicorn in Korea. The things we have to do is that we need to look on the side what the users actually want in their addressing the blockchain or the cryptocurrency. I think so. The gamification or the incentivizing them in some ways is actually the easiest and actually more of the fastest way to actually make them into the in this kind of blockchain or the crypto. It's not because in Korea, because like the blockchain frenzy, like the prices frenzy, in over the years, there were some concerns about people like, is blockchain a fraud, or like the crypto, is it just like a non-rational thing? So those kind of sentiments actually prolonged over the years. But as a conventional service provider, we were actually more focusing on the services, not on the advertising that we are blockchain or not. So I think the values that we have to give to our users should be very intact, and it should be very concrete in this sense. So yeah, those kind of lessons that I think should be implemented also in other blockchain areas too.
Gotcha. Anybody else? We got about a minute before we go to outros.
Yeah, I guess I would say, you know, the education side of things, when you're educating people about how they can get their tokens off or their crypto off, or just getting them involved and it's not a scam and it's not freaky and it's not, you know, why they should be doing it in the first place. Like, that's why I'm interested in knowing about what you guys are doing and how you kind of bridge that gap.
We do a lot of customer service. I mean, we have brand new people who, you know, they own their first Bitcoin for the first time, and we literally get customer support tickets that are like, what do I do with this now? You know, and we haven't quite gotten there on the education piece yet, but it's something we're working on.
Yeah, I know for me personally, just with our own apps, one of the things that if we could go back in time that, you know, we would have probably done different is really give people a reason to open the apps or interact with the apps every single day and reward them in a way that doesn't put anybody in jail, right? So, because that's one of the problems with cryptocurrencies. So we got about 3 minutes left, and I wanted to give everybody, you know, at least 30, 45 seconds to tell people where to find each other, right? So Aubrey, where can people go to find you and learn about Lolli and all that good stuff?
Yes, we're at lolli.com. We're also at TryLolli on Twitter. And then I just launched a new supplemental Twitter account that's going to be giving people like the best deals online. So if you're looking for like the highest Bitcoin back rates, like 28%, 30% back, like we're sharing that in a completely different channel so that we don't bombard you with too many shopping ads. But yep, and then myself, I'm at Aubrey Strobel on Twitter. So
awesome.
Great.
What about you, Adi?
We're at propsproject.com and at propsproject on Twitter. I think what's important to remember is we hear all the time that blockchain is such a revolution and whatnot, and yet like 90% of our colleagues in the non-blockchain space look at us like they don't get it or we're crazy. It's really exciting to inhale the fact that these solutions are coming to unicorn businesses like Mike's, to, you know, games like what Amy is doing, to Lolli, like what Audrey's doing, and regular rewards to regular people. More and more people are being educated about it. And this is all starting to work seamlessly for regular companies. And that's really in the beginning of the revolution. And, you know, from here on, you know, we know that this is going to have a major impact on society, on how work is conducted, etc.
We're almost out of time. Amy, where can people find you?
Yeah, sure. So our website is blingfi, blingfi.com. And from our website, you can just get to our Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. I'm Amy Y. Wan on Twitter. And yeah, you know, we are on the Android Google Play Store, so you can download our games there. You can just look up Bling or just look up Bitcoin and you'll find our games.
Awesome. Mike, I got it right.
Yeah, you can Google us at Yanolja, and you can find us at yanolja.com. And yeah, it was really exciting to be here. It was my second summit or the conference next to the Consensus 2020 this summer. I think most of the crypto or the blockchain company should be doing more productive jobs now, and to actually generate more values to the users. And Yanolja, as it says, the name of the company is actually called Let's Play in Korean. So I think the gamification and also the crypto should be more promoted in Korea, and we'll do our best to actually give those services to our users.
Awesome. It's been a pleasure, peeps. You know, God bless y'all. And we are out of time, and I'm easy to find, cryptobeadles.com. So awesome, peeps. Well, I guess they'll cut us off any second here. It was a pleasure talking with all
Robert.
businesses.